Good morning. Please direct your attention to the Secretary of the Commission.
The purpose of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's open meeting is for the Commission to consider the matters that have been duly posted in accordance with the Government and the Sunshine Act. Members of the public are invited to observe, which includes attending, listening, and taking notes, but does not include participating in the meeting or addressing the Commission. Actions that purposely interfere or attempt to interfere with the commencement or conducting of the meeting or inhibit the audience's ability to observe or listen to the meeting are not permitted. This includes attempts by audience members to address the Commission while the meeting is in progress. Any persons engaging in such behavior shall be asked to leave the building. Anyone who refuses to leave voluntarily will be escorted from the building. Additionally, documents presented to the chairman, commissioners, or staff during the meeting will not become part of the official record of any commission proceeding, nor will they require further action by the commission. If you wish to comment on an ongoing proceeding before the commission, please visit our website for more information. Also, representatives from FERC's Office of Public Participation are in the lobby to answer questions and assist the public with submission inquiries. Thank you for your cooperation.
Madam Secretary, we're ready to begin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. This is the time and place that has been noticed for the open meeting of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to consider the matters that have been duly posted by the Commission. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, since the May 23, 2024 open meeting, the Commission has issued 83 notational orders. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and good morning to everyone. Today is a bittersweet day. We are welcoming our new colleague, Commissioner Rosner, to the dais, but we are also saying goodbye to my friend, Commissioner Clements. Let me start by saying a few words about our new colleague. Commissioner Rosner and I will hold my remarks on Commissioner Clements until the end of the meeting. I'm going to say something about Rosner. I'm going to hold my comments on Clements to the end. Commissioner Rosner, welcome. It feels like I was just in that seat not too long ago. President Biden could not have made final choices in selecting you and our two other colleagues who have yet to join us. Of course, you, being a FERC alum, have a lot of familiarity with the building, and I see that you have already established quite an impressive staff. I look forward to working with you in the days, months, and years to come. FERC will, no doubt, be well served by having you as a commissioner. As I noted again, I will say a few words about Commissioner Clements at the end. Back to the regular scheduled program. Today, I would like to acknowledge the FERC 2024 summer intern class. We have an amazing group of 50 interns working across the commission this summer. The group includes budding lawyers, economists, analysts, engineers, just to name a few in their backgrounds. And I had the pleasure of meeting with them just yesterday. We had lunch, and I can tell you, every single year, the group of interns that we have, they just get more and more impressive. I seriously doubt that I would have ever qualified to be an intern at this commission. To the interns, I want to say thank you for joining the commission this summer. I'm delighted to have you. Bring your enthusiasm and your desire to serve the industry and the American people to FERC. Hope that your time this summer will be valuable and that you learn more about the industry and the commission in the process. I ask you to please join me in a round of applause for these people. Also want to note that my advisor, Nicole Bucinelli, is back from maternity leave. A big thank you to Robert Ferris, whom Commissioner Rosner has already poached. for doing an excellent job supporting our office while Nicole was out. Let me say that June is Pride Month, which promotes equal justice and opportunity for the LGBTQIA+ people. It celebrates the vibrant culture and community and recognizes the progress while advocating for equity. Celebrated in June in many countries, Pride Month commemorates the 1969 Stonewall riots, also known as the Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York, which helped ignite the gay liberation movement. And with that, I would like to make sure. Nope, I got more. Turning to the agenda items. Item number E1 is an advance NOPR on proposed rulemaking, or an ANOPR, to consider potential requirements for transmission providers to use dynamic line ratings to improve the accuracy of transmission line ratings. I will hold my comments and questions until after the team presents, but I want to thank them now up front for all the hard work that went into this item. On that note, I'm also pleased to announce that we will be issuing a notice today with preliminary topics and requests for speaker nominations for our staff-led interconnection workshops in September. While transmission providers are doing great work to roll out the implementation of Order Number 2023, we must continue exploring the novel approaches to address the nation's backlog interconnection queues. I urge all interested stakeholders to submit self-nominations. We all need to put our heads together to solve these important problems. Now turning to item number E4. Regarding preparing for extreme weather, item E4 approves NERC's proposed reliability standard, EOP 12-2, on extreme cold weather preparedness and operations. This standard represents the latest of NERC's efforts to help ensure generators are winterized and better prepared to operate during extreme cold weather conditions like those seen in Winter Storms Uri and Elliott. I commend NERC on the work it has done in drafting this second version of the standard. It has helped close some ongoing reliability gaps and address many of the outstanding Commission recommendations on winterization. Nevertheless, I would be remiss not to note that there are still changes that need to be made to help this standard reach its full potential. Several of those changes pertain to situations where generator owners declare the need to refrain from or the need to extend the timetable for implementing freeze protection measures. Finally, taking a step back, after each major storm event, our experts, along with NERC, spend time investigating the events and developing thoughtful recommendations to help prevent recurring reliability issues in the future. It is our responsibility to make sure that each of those recommendations are acted upon. To this end, the Winter Storms Uri and Elliott recommendations tracking dashboard officially goes live on the Commission's website today. This dashboard will highlight the work that has already been done and is still ongoing, as well as identify where work is still needed. And that does conclude my comments for today, and I'll now turn to my colleagues. Commissioner Clements.
Thank you, Chairman Phillips. Good morning. I'd just like to say hello to the gaggle of Clements family who's joined us here today. I'm really happy to have them. They came from far and wide, and it means a lot to have them here with me. It is June. Happy Pride Month. It's a belated Juneteenth. And my last time to say we've had celebrations with both our Queer Employee Resource Group and our African American Employee Resource Group this month. And as usual, they're coming out strong as a community. This is my 40th and last meeting. I'll save most of what I'm going to say for the end, but I do want to congratulate Commissioner Rosner. Welcome to the table, and I'm really glad we get one meeting together. You're going to be a great commissioner, and I can already tell you're off to a great start. I'm going to just speak to one agenda item, that's C5. I dissent from today's order authorizing Venture Global's proposed CP2 LNG terminal and CP Express pipeline project. I do so because the Commission has not adequately addressed the project's environmental and socioeconomic impacts, including adverse impacts on environmental justice communities. These projects will have enormous emissions of greenhouse gases, equivalent to putting more than 1.8 million new gas-fueled cars on the road each year. The order does not meaningfully assess those emissions. Since the EIS for the projects was issued, there have been important developments that should have been addressed in a supplemental EIS. Instead, the Commission relies on updated air pollution impact modeling submitted by Venture Global itself, without giving the public access to the underlying data or any opportunity to comment. These and other deficiencies violate multiple statutes and preclude me from finding either project is in or consistent with the public interest. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Christie.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is what we used to call in the Marines a hail and farewell day. We hail our new member, Commissioner Rosner. We say farewell to our outgoing member, Commissioner Clements. So it's a bittersweet day. With regard to Commissioner Rosner, I got a chance to get to know him a little bit when he's working on Senate Energy staff, and I think he is, as the chairman said, he's a great addition to this commission, along with the other two. We look forward to getting them on. So just want to say to David, welcome. Welcome here. And I'll save my comments for the Commissioner Clements until I hear what she says. Let me mention it with regard to the interns. Chairman mentioned the interns. I have an intern this summer, Charlie Hubner from Wake Forest. He's part of the group. And I look forward to having my brown bag lunch. I will really look forward to that every summer, having the brown bag lunch with him. The chairman had his this week, and I'm looking forward to having that with the interns. I think it's right after 4th of July. I'll be seeing you guys, so I'm looking forward to it. And it sounds like a very challenging group if they start asking questions. Your description, which is good. It's fun. Let me note just one item today. I have 3 separate statements, which we'll talk about when the Secretary calls the roll. And I have a dissent in E8. That is the transmission incentive order. This time it's Southern Cal Edison. And what I point out in the dissent is here again, the Commission is giving out incentives which drive the cost of transmission up to consumers, drive it up substantially. And this is a case where the California Public Utility Commission has never issued a CPCN. There's never been a proceeding. So, and I will admit that this is consistent with FERC's practice of giving out these incentives before states even conduct CPCN proceedings. I think this is built into Order 679. I think it's wrong because the CPCN proceeding is a completely different type of proceeding than the regional planning process in the RTOs. And yet Order 679 in our practice around here has equated those as though they are the same thing. They're not the same thing. And I don't think we ought to be giving out incentives before the state has even had a CPCN proceeding. So my dissent in E8 points out once again, I know there's some debate tonight, so I'll use a line from an old debate. There we go again. It's just a practice that it really needs to stop or be modified substantially. And I hope it's someday in this commission we'll actually take a look at this. These incentives are a form of consumer exploitation. We shouldn't be a party to it. We ought to be looking at reforming these. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Christie. Now turning to Commissioner Rosner.
Well, thank you, Chairman Phillips, Commissioner Christie, and Commissioner Clements for the very warm welcome. It's great to be back. And I look forward to working closely with and collegially with you all. And I wish you the best, Commissioner Clements. I want to echo the thoughts for the Happy Pride Month and say that I am just humbled to be back here to sit with you this morning and to be able to serve my country in this way. I have a few thank yous for my first open meeting as a commissioner. Thank you, President Biden, for nominating me and for his confidence in my ability to serve. Thank you, Chairman Manchin, Ranking Member Barrasso, Leader Schumer, and the members of the Senate for their support and confidence. And I also want to thank my family, my wife, my children, and my parents for their steadfast support for my career in public service. And I especially want to thank Commission staff for making the onboarding process seamless. In particular, Charles Beeman, Matt Christensen, Mittal Desai, Anton Porter, Eddie Rebus, Benjamin Williams, and most importantly, thank you to each of your respective teams. It's the people who make the difference and who enable the Commission to accomplish its important work. And on the topic of people, I'd like to take a second to introduce a few first members of my team. Robert Ferris, has joined my office as a technical advisor. Robert is an analyst in the Office of Energy Market Regulation with a long background in energy and electricity markets. And Robert and I share a passion for working in the FERC dockets, and I'm delighted to be able to benefit from his technical expertise. Robert also brings expertise from a recent detail in Chairman Phillips' office. Thank you. Also, Sutima Malayaman has joined as a legal advisor. Sutima brings many years of experience from her time in the Office of the General Counsel and from her time in private practice. Sutima has graciously agreed to help me get the office off the ground and will stay through the end of the year, but I hope it will be longer. And finally, Kathleen Bernard has graciously agreed to assist me in these first few weeks with scheduling and office management. A few very brief words on priorities as a commissioner, which I look forward to expanding in the future. The Commission's core responsibility, its job number one, is to ensure reliable operation of the country's electric grid. And it's undeniable that the U.S. energy system is in transition, and maintaining the reliable operation of the electrical grid at reasonable cost to consumers as this transition unfolds is both a challenge and an opportunity for the Commission, and a task I'm humbled to take on. This means many things, but especially it means that the Commission must remain vigilant and respect the reality of the resources that power our economy today. But that alone is not sufficient. The Commission must keep its eye on the horizon to ensure that its legacy of providing reliable, safe, secure, and affordable energy to all Americans continues. Whether that be continuing to faithfully implement the Commission's long-standing policy of resource and fuel neutrality to allow the next generation of technologies to play their role in the energy system, or hardening the energy system to withstand evolving threats to reliability, including weather, physical, and cyber risk, or ensuring energy affordability and reliability through timely review of needed energy infrastructure while considering the views from all parties. And finally, this also means protecting consumers by honoring the Commission's obligation under the Federal Power Act to ensure rates are just and reasonable. I look forward to working with my fellow commissioners on these important issues. And turning to today's agenda, I will not be participating in the items the Commission will vote on today. While I'm very eager to engage in matters that come before the Commission, I have not had sufficient time to engage in the careful analysis of the facts and the record that each of the items on the agenda today deserves. That said, I have very brief comments on item E1, the advance notice of proposed rulemaking on dynamic line of ratings. As a general matter, I'm very excited to see the Commission continue to consider ways to unlock additional capabilities from our current grid. Doing more with less is just common sense, and I look forward to reviewing the record as this proceeding develops. I also want to note the Chairman's announcement of a staff-led workshop to discuss innovations and efficiencies in the generator interconnection process. It is critical for the Commission to continuously reassess and improve the interconnection process to ensure we are getting new resources on the system as quickly and efficiently as possible and delivering reliable and affordable electricity to the public. And I look forward to engaging on that workshop. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for your thoughtful comments, and welcome again. Madam Secretary, we are ready to move to the consent agenda.
Thank you. Since the issuance of the Sunshine Act notice on June 20th, 2024, item G1 has been stricken from this morning's agenda. Your consent agenda for this morning is as follows. Electric items, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E9, E10, E11, E12, E13, E14, E15, and E16. Hydro items, H1, H2, and H3. Certificates items, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6. As to E2, Commissioner Clements is concurring with a separate statement. As to E8, Commissioner Christie is dissenting with a separate statement. As to E10, Commissioner Clements is dissenting with a separate statement. As to E12, Commissioner Christie is concurring with a separate statement. As to E13, Commissioner Clements is concurring with a separate statement. As to E15, Commissioner Clements is dissenting with a separate statement. As to E16, Commissioner Christie is concurring in part and dissenting in part with a separate statement. As to C1, Commissioner Clements is dissenting in part with a separate statement. As to C2, Commissioner Clements is dissenting in part with a separate statement. As to C5, Commissioner Clements is dissenting with a separate statement. And as to C6, Commissioner Clements is dissenting with a separate statement. Noting that Commissioner Rosner is not participating in this morning's items, we will now take a vote on the consent agenda items. The vote begins with Commissioner Christie.
Okay, Madam Secretary, noting again my dissent in E8, my concurrence in E12, and my partial dissent in E16, I vote aye on everything.
Commissioner Clements.
Secretary Reese, noting my concurrence in E2 and E13, my partial dissents in C1 and C2, and my dissents in E10, E15, C5, and C6, I vote aye.
And Chairman Phillips.
Madam Secretary, I vote aye. And now if we could please move to the discussion agenda.
The presentation and discussion item for this morning is item E1, implementation of dynamic line ratings. There will be a presentation by Daniel Calusi from FERC's Office of Energy Policy and Innovation. He is accompanied by Ryan Sheen from the Office of General Counsel, Bianca Davis from the Office of Energy Market Regulation, and Amir Najasadi from the Office of Energy Reliability. You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Phillips and Commissioners. Item E1 is a draft advance notice of proposed rulemaking, or ANOPR, to consider potential requirements for transmission providers to use dynamic line ratings to improve the accuracy of transmission line readings. Dynamic line ratings, or DLRs, are transmission line ratings that reflect up-to-date forecasts of weather conditions such as ambient air temperature, wind, and solar heating. Today's draft ANOPR, builds on order number 881. In that order, the Commission revised its pro forma open access transmission tariff and its regulations to improve the accuracy and transparency of transmission line ratings by requiring, among other things, transmission providers to adopt ambient adjusted line ratings, or AARs, that reflect ambient air temperature. Shortly after issuing order number 881, the Commission issued a notice of inquiry, or NOI, on DLRs. In the NOI, the Commission asked questions to further build the record about criteria for potential DLR requirements and the benefits, costs, and challenges of implementing DLRs. Based on the record in both the order number 881 and the NOI proceedings, and on information gathered in subsequent outreach and further research, the draft ANOPR explores potential reforms to further enhance transmission line rating accuracy. The draft ANOPR preliminarily proposes a framework of DLR reforms that would require transmission line ratings to reflect solar heating based on the sun's position and solar heating based on forecastable cloud cover. The proposed framework would also require transmission line ratings to reflect forecasts of wind speed and of wind direction for certain transmission lines in windy and congested areas. In order to identify candidate transmission line ratings, in order to identify candidate transmission lines for a DLR requirement related to wind, the draft ANOPR proposes metrics to measure congestion both in RTO-ISO regions and in non-RTO-ISO regions. Overall, the draft ANOPR preliminarily finds that transmission line ratings that incorporate dynamic line ratings, those that better reflect solar heating and, where appropriate, wind conditions, would result in more accurate system transfer capability, thereby resulting in just and reasonable rates. The draft ANOPR seeks comment on both the need for a DLR requirement and on the proposed framework of DLR reforms. Initial comments are due 90 days after publication in the Federal Register, with reply comments due 30 days later. Thank you. This concludes our presentation. I'd also like to thank the team, and we are happy to address any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you to the team, and thank you for the presentation. I'm very excited about the release of this ANOPR for DLR. The Commission issued Order Number 881 requiring ambient adjusted line ratings, as well as an inquiry into dynamic line ratings when I first joined the Commission. Last year, we continued the discussion in our Federal State Task Force meeting on grid enhancing technologies. As I said then, while building new transmission is critical, we also need to take all steps to improve the efficient and reliable use of our existing infrastructure. I'm committed to make sure that consumers receive good value from the rates that they pay. Studies suggest that dynamic line ratings can have less than a year to pay back in some cases. With that, I have a couple questions. So we have here an ANOPR. We had a notice of inquiry where stakeholders provided comment. Can you help me understand why is the Commission considering an ANOPR here and not a NOPR?
I'll take that. Thank you, Chairman Phillips. The proposed DLR framework in the draft ANOPR builds on the comments that we received in the NOI, and it builds on the record that the staff has compiled through its own research and through its own outreach. The draft ANOPR will add to the information that we've received, and it asks some specific questions on implementation. Questions such as what's the most efficient way to determine congestion issues. This is particularly important in non-RTO ISO regions. It seeks information on the appropriate use of sensors in a DLR framework. And the staff believes that this additional information that will be received as a result of this ANOPR will enable the Commission to have the information it needs to craft an effective, efficient implementation strategy for DLR.
Thank you, Ryan. Excellent response. One other question. How will this proposed framework on DLR, how might it impact the reliability of our system?
Thanks for the question, Chairman Phillips. So dynamic line ratings, they can provide reliability benefits. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes quickly. To more accurately represent the transfer capability on the existing transmission system. Where the dynamic line ratings, they increase this transfer capability, this increase can relieve congestion, and it can also provide system operators with more options during stress system conditions. In addition, dynamic line ratings, it can enhance reliability through use of monitoring and forecasting tools that they take into consideration anticipated environmental conditions to more accurately forecast the available transfer of the power.
Excellent. That concludes my questions. I'll turn to my colleagues. Commissioner Clements.
Thank you. Nice job on the presentation. Thanks for the good work on this ANOPR. And I'm so glad we're issuing it today. You know, pick your any favorite real life example or study cited in the ANOPR, and they all have the same theme. We are leaving significant benefits and cost savings on the table for every minute that we fail to deploy and utilize DLRs in our transmission system. This has been a long time coming. We first voted on DLR issues in December 2021. That's nearly 3 years to move the ball forward several yards, with a good amount of the field yet to cover. Best case, we are looking at another year for the NOPR and then a final rule, plus compliance and implementation after that. And so all of this emphasizes the need for good, thoughtful comments in response to this ANOPR, which really does set up a promising framework. And I encourage you to file comments and get specific. And I want to thank Byron Corum, who made this ANOPR better by working so hard on it for our team. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Christie.
Yeah, thank you to the team who worked on this and got the ANOPR drafted. Like Commissioner Clements, I think it's timely, and I'm glad we're moving forward with it. I've had conversations with engineers at transmission owners and utilities over the last several years, and what they all tell me is that DLR can really add to capacity of existing lines. We have to get the place right and the time right. And so I think this is a great opportunity to take advantage of getting the benefit of DLR and getting it right. And so I look forward to the comment we're going to get in, and hopefully we can come out with something on the back end of this fairly expeditiously, because, I mean, it's obviously a no-brainer. If you can get more capacity out of an existing line, that's a good thing to do, and it's a cheaper than the alternative. So I'm glad we're moving forward on this. Hopefully this will be done in an expeditious manner, and we're going to get some good we're going to get some good comments, and get this right, and get it targeted to where it's going to work.
Thank you, Commissioner Rosner.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not participating in this item, and therefore I don't have any questions for the team, but I do want to thank the team for the presentation and for all the work that went into the ANOPR. I know it's a lot. I'm very excited to engage in this matter as the Commission receives comments and feedback on the proposal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam Secretary.
As noted, Commissioner Rosner is not participating in this item. We'll now take a vote on item E1, beginning with Commissioner Christie.
Yes.
Commissioner Clements.
Aye.
Chairman Phillips.
Aye. Thank you again, Madam Secretary. So we had the sweet part at the beginning of the meeting, and now we turn to the bitter part. Thank you again to the team. Thank you so much. Please take your seat. I want to take a moment and acknowledge my colleague, my friend, Commissioner Clements. You know, while this might be the last time that we sit here together at this table as commissioners, we all know, and everybody in this room knows, the impact of your work and what it will have on this agency, on our grid, and on our country for years to come. You know, I can recount for you all of the many ways Commissioner Clements has led during her time at the Commission, and she arrived a year before I arrived here at FERC in 2021. She led on the Office of Public Participation to establish that important office that has helped so many different stakeholders over the time that it's been in existence. She has witnessed and voted on many landmark orders on this transmission reform journey that we have been on, and quite frankly has been the tip of the spear when it comes, because no one works harder, no one digs in more, no one cares more about how our orders turn out and that they are legally durable than Commissioner Clements. And I can say this, we've certainly had our disagreements, but I can give you the highest compliment that I think I can, is that you have my respect. And I know that my own daughter can look to a public servant like you and know that you can be a public servant, you can serve honorably, and you don't have to compromise your principles to do so. And for that, I want to tell you, you will be missed. Thank you. Turn to Commissioner Christie.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, Commissioner Clements and I came in the same class. She was a couple of weeks ahead of me. But the first time I saw her in action was in front of the Senate Energy Committee, and I said, "Wow, she's impressive." I remember one of the answers you had. You had a question. You said, "Well, the Federal Power Act is a consumer protection statute." I said, "I'm going to write that down," and I did. But she was very impressive then. And you know, the thing about the cases, we call these cases, these orders are really cases, and maybe this is looking at it like a lawyer, but I was born that way. But the thing about it is, each one of these cases is really like a little litigation, and 99% of them end up being settled, where everybody signs on. Some of them end up being more contested. One thing you learn as a litigator is you get tremendous respect for the litigators on the other side of the issue, or have a different perspective on the issue. And one thing I learned in all these cases that we've litigated, because that's what we do around here, is that you are an extremely good lawyer, a very good lawyer. And as a lawyer, that's respect. Okay? People who are not lawyers might say, "What's so good about that?" But as a lawyer, I echo the chairman. I have tremendous respect. You're a great lawyer. All you law schools out there, she'd be a great teacher. Okay, she really would. Another thing you've done too is you've hired a great staff. Your staff is outstanding, and you know, bosses who are great lawyers hire great staff, and you've had a great staff, and they've really been outstanding to work with, and so I compliment you on that. Also unknown about her, she's also a songwriter. She wrote a great Christmas song for us, and my biggest regret is she wouldn't publish it. I said, this is great. You got to put this on the internet or something. But she wouldn't do it. But it was really good. So there's another talent. Finally, I'm going to say the same thing I said about Rich Glick when Rich left his final meeting as chairman. And by the way, Rich is very happy this week. The Mets swept the Yankees. But I said about Chairman Glick at his last meeting, I said, you know, some people want to go into public office to be something, and then others want to have public office to do something. And Commissioner Clements clearly is in the category of someone who wanted to be in public office to do something. And for that, I really compliment her as well. So with that, best wishes to you. You're going to be a success, whatever you do. I'll be reading about you from retirement. And so I wish you all the best, and your staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Christie. Commissioner Rosner.
Well, I want to extend to you, Commissioner Clements, my best wishes and appreciation for your service to the Commission and the country. Our time together has been very, very short, but I did have the pleasure of getting to know you when I was part of Commission staff, and one thing that I noticed and admired about you is how generous you were with your time with staff and sharing your experience, your wisdom with staff, and that's just really generous, and it meant a lot to me when I was on staff, so thank you. And I also admire your leadership and your commitment to the public interest. I loved hearing the story that Commissioner Christie just told about the Federal Power Act being a consumer protection statute, because he's told me that a few times, and and so he definitely he likes that, and that's amazing that it came from you. But you will be missed in the halls of 888, and I know your legacy will live on through the orders that you helped draft. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. I don't think I've ever been this nervous up here before at this moment, and I always have lots to say, so I do have lots to say. Those are very gracious comments. Thank you, Chairman Phillips. Thank you, Commissioners. So here we go. Across the three commissions of which I have been a part, we have accomplished a great deal. It has taken the majority of my term to create, develop, and bring across the finish line two major rules of which I'm very proud, Orders number 2023 and 1920. These rules set the stage for ensuring our nation's electricity system will be sufficient to drive a flourishing U.S. economy, to protect national security, to keep costs manageable for all Americans, and to protect communities in the face of climate-driven extreme weather and disasters. I believe when the dust settles, Order 1920 will be understood as a legally sound, common-sense evolution of electricity system planning necessary to meet the challenges of our modern society. It will direct billions of dollars that are already spent annually on transmission towards more beneficial outcomes for customers. States that support this cost-effective long-term planning will have a leg up in the fierce competition for economic development, and more importantly, in the quest to protect the health and safety of their citizens. I'm also particularly proud of the progress we have made in encouraging the deployment of grid-enhancing technologies. There's a lot more to look forward to in the quest to deploy these technologies, but I am glad it is now understood and believed that transmission owners are not satisfying their responsibility for just and reasonable service if they are not moving swiftly to deploy GETs. On the electric side, we have also set the table for further actions on cost management, interregional transmission, gas-electric coordination, and for the next steps on interconnection reform. The list of topics is really great. Some of them were discussed in my Order number 2023 concurrence, and I'll be eagerly watching from my TV set at home. There will also be a continuing need to address the threats posed by extreme weather cold events that have revealed cracks in our system's preparedness. We have made strides. Under Chairman Phillips' leadership, we have made important strides on the reliability standards. But as demonstrated today on our cold weather standards order, the process has plenty of room for improvement. Beyond reliability standards, our forums on winter energy adequacy challenges in New England offered important lessons learned, including the value in rigorous analysis on the front end to define the problem we are trying to solve. As I have said in the past, that approach must be a hallmark of market evolution going forward. And you know me, there's always more to do, right? So bear with me while I keep going. Of course there is more to be done with respect to our Natural Gas Act responsibilities. There remains the need for good faith dialogue and progress on developing a modern decisional framework for deciding on new project applications. The Commission needs an updated policy that looks beyond private contracts for new gas capacity and accounts for all factors affecting the public interest. The complexities of the energy transmission demand a more discerning, forward-looking approach to evaluating the need for new gas projects. One of my team and my most proud accomplishments is being associated with the establishment of the Office of Public Participation. Building an office from nothing is not easy. Early in my term, I spent time thinking about the ways we could support OPP to take root and grow. And it's more than grown, it's flourished, now with 20 staff members, including remote staff covering the Northeast, the Gulf, the Southwest, and the Northwest. The foundation of this office was established by OED and by Stacy Steve, and then by its inaugural director, Ellen Katz, and now Nicole Sidaraman, who's on a well-deserved vacation this week. Now, each of its team members are continuing to build the program and welcome public voices into FERC's proceedings. I look forward to seeing OPP continue to thrive in the years to come. I, too, have tried to maintain an open door policy and taking meetings with all kinds of stakeholders, regardless of the name of their organization or their perspective. As a result, I have had the chance to meet and learn a great deal from a broad array of stakeholders. This is an impressive commission of 5 coming up, and I am optimistic about what they will achieve. As I depart, I humbly offer my perspective on what I have learned during my term. At this moment in time, when facts on the ground are changing so quickly, it is difficult to regulate at the pace necessary to keep up. I urge the new commission to lean in, take a proactive approach to reliability and affordably adapting to the energy transition that is underway. Regulation will fail if it is deemed ideological to try and skate where the puck is going. More than any time in our memory, the Commission's regulations must be nimble in the face of a changing energy system and new threats. The antidote to new challenges is not an inflexible devotion to the past. A regulator's jobs in these times of rapid change and uncertainty, as Judge Scott Hempling would say, is to lead, not preside. And finally, public interest cannot apply to only a portion of the public. Underserved and overburdened communities must be a key constituency, as they don't have the same means to advocate for themselves as others. And with that, I have some thank yous. First, thank you to Senator Schumer and Senator Manchin for giving me this opportunity, and to the many Congresspeople and their staff with whom I've had the opportunity to engage. This role has been nothing short of an honor and a privilege. To my former colleagues on the Commission who aren't up here today, you've made this job nothing less than interesting on a daily basis for 3.5 years. But joking aside, I am honored for the shared experience across our commissions. Former Chairman Glick, thank you for starting a lot of important work. I'm really proud to help some of them get across the finish line these last several months. Chairman Phillips, you are an excellent chair. You are doing a great job, and you have led the final rule of some really important rules that are going to benefit American citizens greatly. I wish you all the best in leading this new commission. And I know that you're going to continue your laser focus on driving us forward reliably. Commissioner Christie, as everybody knows, our substantive differences have been on display in recent times, but I've really gotten to appreciate the chance to know you personally over this term. Commissioner Christie is a person of high integrity, and at key times over this term, he has had my back, and I'll always be grateful for that. To the staff of the Commission, I want to express my genuine and heartfelt gratitude to all of you for the public service. And I'll start with the senior staff at this table. Secretary Reese, Janelle, Jignasa and Mike, Matt, Nicole, who's not here, Jet, Ronan, Terry, Joe, and David. To Benjamin Williams and the OEA team, you and all of your teams, thank you. Your collective public service is inspiring to observe, and we cannot thank you too early or too often. Eddie, Anton, Middle, Doug, Mark, and your teams, you are the ones who make this agency sing. You've made my experience as productive and as enjoyable as you could have. And a few personal thanks. Matt Christensen, thank you for running a great shop, for inspiring young lawyers, and for the countless ways you've helped our team. David Morinoff, who's also on a well-deserved vacation, I couldn't be more fortunate to have his friendship and his leadership during my term. He represents the best in a public servant, and he's a special custodian of his agency, and it is lucky to have him. Karen Herzfeld, you made it. You got these rules out. It's incredible. Thank you so much. Charles Beeman, I'm glad that I helped to keep you busy over the last few years. Thanks to you, Marcos, Catherine, and the whole team for your generosity of time and hard work. Janelle Burdick, you and your team have a hard and important job. You take it on with grace and command. I've enjoyed the chance to get to know you and to work with you. Joe McClellan, he's the only guy in this whole place who can talk faster than I can. I'm grateful to you for your knowledge and your willingness to engage and the smile you bring to everything that you do. It's been really a fun time to work with you. ICD, Matt Tompkins, Mariana Manis, and team. Your commitment to your work has been invaluable to my understanding of how to do this job, and I'm grateful for the time and commitment you put in. I'm going to keep going, so hang in there with me. There's a lot of important people, and I'm not even going to get close to naming everyone. Our administrative law judges, Chief Judge Satin, Deputy Judge Terry, and the whole team, including departing Judge Scott Hempling. It was so nice to get to know you all a little bit personally, especially while we shared that 6th floor for many months. You know, I'm just so glad to know that the central work of this commission is in good hands. The Protective Operations team, Dewar, Craig, Sal, Brian, Cole, and Valerian, and Zach and Sarah before you. You have all made my job better in so many ways. Thank you for taking care of me and my team in the serious moments and for making it much, much more fun in the lighter ones. And I'm really going to miss you guys. Kim Smazniak and Rebecca Blitzstein, in different ways, as the Golden Girls would say, thank you for being a friend. You really created a safe space for me, and it was really nice to have an old friend around. And now moving on to my team, who I love. Look at this. They're like, what an amazing thing. They're all behind me. That's never happened, and they're all probably very uncomfortable right now. I want to acknowledge Ashanti Washington, who was with my office for our first year and helped us get on our feet. I also want to thank those who have worked with us on detail: Kathleen Bernard, Caroline Wozniak, Caroline Engel, Vivian Chum, who's here, now Commissioner Gabe Aguileras in New Mexico, and Lauren Campbell. And thanks also to our fine group of interns, all 21 of them over the term. Thanks to our current all-star legal fellow, Jonah Baskin. He has been a great value add to our team, and he's one of the kindest, nicest people you're ever going to meet. Emily Beard, I'm going to not be able to look at you while I'm doing this. Emily Beard, who has been on detail from the Office of General Counsel. Thanks for jumping in and fitting in. I've loved having you as a part of our team. Your intelligence, good humor, and patience are appreciated, and you have much more to offer to this commission. And to my long-timers, in alphabetical order, Alex. Alex started with us a few weeks after he graduated from college. So fast forward 3.5 years, and this guy is a veritable encyclopedia of how to get things done at this commission. He takes a challenge, he disappears deep somewhere into the bowels of this building, and he comes out with solutions to all of our issues and office needs. And in so doing, he's made friends and is respected across the agency. And I can't count the number of times he is complimented by external stakeholders. He's been a stellar liaison for our office. Byron. In some ways, it feels like Byron and I have always been on the same team. I do. His deep technical knowledge and desire to get it right, combined with his being the constructive mayor of FERC, add up to an impressively effective advisor and advocate. It is as fun to watch Byron kindly correct me and the other lawyers on how the markets actually work in his understated way as it is to crack up at his impeccably played sense of humor. He is the glue that holds our team together. Also, you can trace this commission's progress on grid-enhancing technologies back to Byron's tireless effort, and for that, he should be really proud. Carol. Providence, divine intervention, kismet, I don't know how I got such a magnificent woman to come and work for me. Her legal acumen and work ethic, can I have one of those? Thank you. Thank you. Her legal acumen and work ethic is matched only by her wisdom, wit, and generosity. She's been an invaluable mentor to me and to others on our team, and her mischievous humor has kept us all going. And she's had a particularly tough portfolio with which she did an incredible and determined job. And I'm so proud of the statements that we've put out together on the gas side. Chris. I love this guy. I have loved getting to know him and watch him grow professionally. He knows more about the RTO markets and many other things than anyone I've ever met, and he knows how to translate their complications and nuance into compelling English. When Chris weighs in, whether it's on strategy, wording, or how to manage a sticky situation, we all listen. I can't say enough good things about him. I admire the thoughtfulness, adventurous spirit, and conscientiousness he brings to his work and his life. Mary. I have watched her grow immensely over the last 2 years, and she's had a go at it. Mary has a rare combination of legal skill, organizational prowess, and good sense. She also forms the center of our team. She's really fun, it turns out. She has more interesting hobbies than you can shake a stick at. She's also universally loved and appreciated by all who have come through our office. She's a person you want in your corner, and vice versa. She's a most trusted advisor, and I'm so glad I found her. We're almost there. Miles. Miles and his family moved down to DC to join me at the commission, and I can't imagine this job without him at my side as my partner in crime. His intelligence and expertise is as great as his commitment to the team, work ethic, and kindness. When I'm ready to throw in the towel on an issue, he thinks up just one more path, no stone unturned. He has an important vision for a more just and equitable energy future that guides our team. As we close this chapter, I reflect on all we've achieved together. Thank you for your thought partnership and friendship. It's really been an honor to work with these people, to get to know their families, to watch them help each other, to see what they've created and their commitment. And last, finally, and most importantly, my family. I started deep in COVID, so we haven't gotten to have an experience in this job together. They all know more about federal energy regulation than they ever dreamed they might. My brother is here and my 2 sisters are here. Thank you for tuning in and for caring, and it means more than I can say. I can't see one of my sisters because she's behind a chair. And she's as short as I am. My mom and dad are here. They've known each other since about 1950, and they're celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary this summer. The dress I'm wearing is one my mom sewed in the late 1970s. She was raising 4 kids before she went back to work and got a master's degree and had a distinguished career with the Ohio State University. My father had a distinguished career for over 30 years with General Motors. There's so much I could say to them to thank, so for today I'll just say something that is most relevant to this job. My time in this role hasn't always been easy, but I've gotten through it, not today, but usually, by aiming to stay true to the value system that my parents instilled in me. My integrity, my belief in respect for all others, and my understanding that public service is a high calling all stem from how they raised me. Thank you. And to Ray and my special girls who made it through the whole meeting. Put your book down for a sec. My family is incredible, and we made it. So it's not just the trade press, but my daughters who have demonstrated to me that my resting commissioner face can be a little intense. I have so much to thank the three of them, but not here today. Instead, I'll just paraphrase the words of the great Jeff Tweedy. Oh, tomatoes right off the vine. We used to eat them like that all the time. And if you think that's the best thing that I ever knew, guess again, my loves, it's you. And with that, I am out. Thank you.
Commissioner, just as a small token from us here at FERC to you, I want to present you this. It's yours. It's a
Oh, wow.
token to you. It's a little heavy.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow, thanks. All right.
That concludes our meeting. Yeah. That was a good guy. He fits great.